Alright, it's me, Michonne. Today is gonna be a little bit fun. I'm going to get a little more personal. So, last time we talked about my health issues, right? Today we're going to talk about other ways in which I'm a total weirdo. Well, you can obviously see that I am a person of color. So that already changes some of the ways I experience life. I'm also female-bodied, if you didn't notice. I've told you before that I'm left-handed. So, speaking of more things that you can't see right off the bat from looking at me, I'm gonna throw a bunch of labels at you right now. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna go through this together. Okay, ready? Alright. There's a simple way and a complex way to describe the way that I relate to other people. The simple version is that I let each relationship be exactly what it is. Sex and love are other aspects, dimensions of the relationships that I have with people. I don't categorize them by importance, and I don't go in with certain expectations. I develop them based on the person that I'm interacting with, instead of having a set of roles for people to fill. With me so far? Good. Alright, now for the complex part. There are a slew of labels many people may or may not be familiar with that feed into my relationships. These are demisexual, pansexual, aromantic, sapiosexual, polyamorous, single-ish, relationship anarchist, etc. I know, there are more. What the hell are all of those that I've mentioned, and why are they relevant to me, and how could they possibly all fit together in one person, no less? Well, it starts with my values, what I treasure, what I seek, and what I know about myself. My experiences have been rather unique, and the fact that I happen to fall into many of these alternate categories both adds to interactions and allows me to explore new avenues. When it comes to love, relationships, and sex, all of my various aspects play off against one another and create some rather interesting situations, ideas, and discoveries. Most of all, I value truth. I also really like math. The idea of just happening to find the one true soulmate in my area, in my lifetime, always struck me as extremely odd. The math never added up for me. It also didn't make sense to choose one person and place them on a pedestal above all other humans. What about family? What about friends? What about myself? Polyamory made more sense to me because in the entire history of humanity, many people have loved or been with more than one person in their lifetime in various ways. People leave, people die, and people meet other people. The saying about not being able to fill another person's cup without first filling your own just makes logical sense to me. On airplanes, everyone is instructed to put on their own mask first before assisting others. So it is with love or relationships of any kind. If you're a wreck or expecting someone else to fulfill you, what happens when they leave or die? Or if someone is required to prop you up? I mean, we fall in love with a person, an individual, right? Each person is different, they're not interchangeable, and to get to know them, you have to understand yourself. That's why autonomy, self-love, is at the top of my list. That's the more singlish part. I take care of myself and expect my friends and partners to do the same. It's also kind of difficult to care about anything else if you're starving yourself. It's hard to even notice anything else when your mind is a mess. With such a huge world and so many people, why ever would anyone desire to shrink their experience? For me, life is about learning. And I suppose that has a lot to do with my sapiosexuality. And that is a term for arousal or attraction based on another person's intelligence. It's a mental connection based on knowledge, information, ideas. This is near the top of my list, and it precludes any other labels. It also falls pretty close to my demisexuality. I have an extremely high sex drive, oddly enough, yet I have to actually like a person, feel emotionally or mentally close to them before I can even think about having sex with them in particular. That's what demisexuality is, the inability to be sexually attracted to another without an emotional connection. It's it's a secondary sexual attraction, and I don't experience it firsthand. It only happens after something else happens. So if I don't like, feel close to, or know someone, there's very little chance that I'll find them attractive and want to be physical with them in that way. I don't lust after celebrities or models either. As I said, the desire for sex is a secondary attraction, and it naturally grows out of the feelings I've already developed for that person. Which leads right into my relationship anarchy. I don't sort my friends according to some exalted status like lover or partner. Each person I choose to interact with is important to me in their own way. I don't get swept off my feet. I don't desire to meld into one being or forsake all others. I'm not romantic because I don't experience these kinds of desires for my relationship. Friendship tends to be the strongest aspect of any relationship for me, no matter what else it includes. Romantic things like candlelit dinners or identifying as a couple or marriage or child rearing in a romantic setting aren't what I want to do. Or if I do want something like them, they're not necessarily limited to those that I call my lovers or partners. My friends aren't treated like dirt just because they don't live with me, and those that I might have sex with aren't more important. Each relationship is just what it is. Each relationship is developed around how we actually get along, how we feel towards one another, and is open to change. I'm also very sensual, and the thought of limiting that based on who's supposed to be acceptable to touch makes no sense. Touch is so often bound up with sex that people have trouble seeing it apart from sex, which is why we have such an issue understanding, well, aromantics and asexuals, and even affection between parents and children. But since people are unique, and my love for one doesn't detract from my love for another, although time may be an issue, the gender and sex of another person don't matter much to me. That's my pansexuality. My own gender is fluid, not to mention that I consider myself human first and foremost. Everything else is secondary to that, in the contents of a person's mind. I'm not going to exclude the possibility of knowing someone just because their body looks a certain way. This doesn't mean that I want to have sex with everyone or everything, or that I find everyone attractive. Like I said, I'm demisexual, so I usually have to have a connection with someone to even consider sex, if either of us even wants to go there. And obviously I still have my own preferences when it comes to aesthetic attractions and the like. But that wasn't so bad, was it? Each of these labels grows out of the values that I hold, the information that I see, and my inherent curiosity. And it's amazing how much I learn about myself, the world, and other people by just letting them be themselves. When there are no arbitrary barriers, when communication becomes the focus, when options are open-ended instead of prescribed, a whole world of unique connections opens up. These labels don't make me who I am. They simply describe several aspects of me. They are helpful, although not always necessary. The simple descriptions I gave above are accurate, even though others can miss the full implications of what they each mean. And that's why the complex description comes in handy. Having language to sum up behavior or values allows new possibilities to sprout. Labels don't have to be scary or impossible or divisive. They can be helpful, informative, and dare I say even simple? I don't know. What do you think?